Hello Muggles and welcome back to my Harry Potter kitchen, the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, making a recipe for all the food and drink featured inside. If you missed last week's recipe as part of our Great Haul special, where we made a buttermilk roast chicken with a piri-piri gravy, then check out the link down below in the description to catch up. But it's Magic Monday, so let's see what new recipes are waiting for us today. If you're a massive fan of the Harry Potter series and you don't want to miss a thing from my Harry Potter kitchen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert every week when there is a brand new video. Speaking of which, it's time to head back to the Great Hall and see what's next. Okay, so we're on the same sentence, but there is still plenty more to come. He had never seen so many things he'd like to eat on one table. Roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops. Let's head back to the grill. For this recipe, you will need some thick cut pork chops, which we're going to season with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and then a teaspoon of salt, pepper, garlic granules, oregano, paprika, mixed spice, and cinnamon. We're also going to make our own barbecue sauce from scratch, and for that you'll need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 red onion, 50 grams of brown sugar, 50 milliliters of pineapple juice, 1 tablespoon of black treacle, 500 grams of tomato passata, 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, half a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then we're also going to season it with salt, pepper, garlic granules, paprika, chili, and Cajun spice. Now, I am a big fan of pork chops, but it's probably one of those meats I don't have all that often because sometimes it can be a bit of a faff to cook. We could roast them, but we've already done roast beef and roast chicken, so instead I thought we'd do a really simple, slow cooked version, and we're going to cook it in a sticky, sweet barbecue sauce, which is going to soak up all that flavour and melt in your mouth. To begin, you want to prepare your barbecue marinade for your pork chops, and all you need to do is add your oil, brown sugar, salt, pepper, and your spices into a bowl. We've gone for garlic granules, oregano, paprika, mixed spice, and cinnamon. People often don't think about putting cinnamon with pork, but it works really, really well. Once all your ingredients are added in, whisk it all together until it is nice and combined. Now, as we're going to slow cook these pork chops, you want to go for some thick cut ones. If they're too thin, they'll cook too quickly and become quite tough. So the thicker they are, the juicier and more tender the meat will be. Once you've got your good quality pork chops from the butchers, all you need to do is dip them into your marinade. Make sure you get a nice coating on both sides and then pop them into a dish. Repeat the process with the rest of your pork chops and then cover them in cling film. You want to pop these into the fridge to marinate overnight or for at least 4 hours. Okay, so for our last few recipes, I did say make your sauces on the day so they're as fresh as possible, but we're going to switch things up a bit for our barbecue sauce and make it in advance. This is just going to help all of those flavours mature and make sure you get a kick behind your barbecue. A lot of quick barbecue sauce recipes require you to use ketchup, but I'm going to show you a version which you can make from scratch and is really, really simple. For this, all we're going to do is peel and grate 1 red onion, just so it's nice and fine and our barbecue sauce isn't too chunky. Once it's nice and smooth, you can head over to the hob and we're going to get a pot on a medium heat. Drizzle in your olive oil and then add in your onions and allow them to cook. Once it starts to sizzle away, you want to add in your sugar and stir that through as the sugar dissolves. Now we want to leave this so the sugar starts to caramelise those onions, and that's where our sticky barbecue flavour is going to come from. Once that's nice and caramelised, add in your pineapple juice to deglaze the pan. This is going to soak up all of those brown caramelised bits to give you a nice rich base. Allow that to bubble through and then add in your treacle. Now the longer you leave this bubbling for, the darker your barbecue sauce will be, so you can tweak this to your tastes. And it's as simple as that to make the base. All that's left to do is add in the rest of our ingredients. So that's our tomato passata, our tomato puree, our red wine vinegar, our Worcestershire sauce, and all of our seasonings. Salt, pepper, garlic granules, paprika, chili, and Cajun spice. Stir that through and leave it to simmer on the hob for about 15 minutes. Once it's had enough time for your flavours to mature, remove it from the heat and then pop it into a jar. You can use this on the day, but as I said, we want to give it time to mature, so feel free to pop it into the fridge in an airtight container until you're ready to use it. And that is all of the prep for this recipe complete. And now you could just add your pork and your sauce to your slow cooker, but we want to get as much flavour as possible. So to do this, we're going to flash fry our pork chops, which means just quickly 1 minute on either side. That's going to seal in all the flavours and make sure we get a nice bit of caramelisation when it goes into the slow cooker. About 10 minutes before you want to fry your pork chops, remove them from the fridge so they can come up to room temperature. Place the frying pan on a medium heat and then drizzle in some olive oil. Next, you want to add your pork chops in one by one, and remember, we only want to seal them, not cook them all the way through, so just 1 minute on each side will do. Once they're browned, remove them from the pan and pop them to one side while you finish off the rest of your pork chops. Slow cookers are a great bit of kit, as you can prepare them in the morning and then go out to work or school and you have a great tasting dinner waiting for you when you get back. All we're going to do for this recipe is add in our barbecue sauce, a cup of water just to compensate for any of the evaporation that happens while it cooks, and if you've saved the juices from your marinade and your frying pan, add those in too, as we want to pack in as much flavour as possible. Give that a stir and then add in your pork chops. You might want to wiggle the pork chops around a bit just to make sure they're submerged in the barbecue sauce, and splash some over the top so we make sure all of it is covered. All that's left to do is place the lid on top, pop your slow cooker onto a low heat, sit back, relax and wait for the magic to happen. So cooking time will depend on how thick your thick cut pork chops are, but it's going to range between the 4 and 6 hour mark. Mine are about 1.5 inches thick and I put them in for 4 hours, but if yours are thicker then you want to extend that up to the 6 hour point. You'll be able to tell they're done though, because the bone should slide away from the pork chop really easily. That's how you know it's going to melt in your mouth. But if you want to be doubly sure, remove them from the slow cooker and cut it in half. Unlike beef, you can't do this rare or medium. You need to make sure it's cooked all the way through and there are no red bits showing. Once your pork chops are ready, all you need to do is remove them from the sauce. Now, depending on how you like your barbecue sauce, you can leave it as it is, but if you want to thicken it up, a quick way to do this is to make a slurry out of corn flour and water and then pour this in. Turn the slow cooker onto high and then whisk it through and you'll start to see your sauce thicken up. Once you've got it to your desired consistency, you can scoop it out and put it into your serving dish or back into your jar to store. And we're done. All that's left to do is plate up and our sticky barbecue pork chops are good to go. So that's a wrap on another recipe from our Great Haul Feast. But if you've read the books or you've seen the film, then you'll know there is plenty more to come. If you don't want to miss a thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert every Magic Monday when there is a brand new video. That is all for now, but I will see you